So, yeah, nice to tune to you and nice to meet you. So we're going to dive in, and I'll go ahead and share my screen. But the topic of today, and I mentioned it, is Somatic Symphony, navigating trauma with the full-octave relational model. And it's like, oh my gosh. Well, I like this part, the Somatic Symphony, right? Because that's a beautiful kind of, at least, way of thinking. Like, how does my body resonate with yours right now? What kind of music is happening? What notes are stuck? What notes want to come next, right? And then this whole thing here, the full-octave relational model, my students have been on me to kind of put out more of my stuff. But part of me is like, do we really need another model? My hope is, my hope is it's a helpful framework to at least think about your work with people or your work with yourself. And I don't, a lot of it is just a reorganization of good work that's come before and a way of thinking about things. So that's, anyways, but it has this fancy schmancy name, the full octave, which is its own version of kind of a musical concept. And I call it the octave because there's 8 different notes that people typically can play if their instrument is flowing. And the idea is we want them to be able to play their full octave in connection and in relationship with others. Okay, so that's the gist of that fancy schmancy kind of thing. Okay, and that's me, and I run a trauma program over at Somatic. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right. I'll do this next slide really quick, especially because some of you know me, some of you don't, but oh, translation. Wow, that's amazing. I speak English. And then, so that's cool that Zoom has that. I'm being translated. It's like, I don't know, the Babel fish. So kind of life, the meaning of the universe and everything, or something like that. So anyway, so I'm being translated right now into different languages, which is cool. Zoom is amazing that way. So about me, I used to be super intellectual and academic, Princeton, Oxford, a place called the Santa Fe Institute. I was really disembodied and separate from my deeper knowing, from my own inner melody, so to speak. If I was stuck in a certain note, like it was all mental, I could play the mental note very well, but it was a very singular note. And I couldn't feel, like the bass of like the bass, the B-A-S-E and the B-A-S-S, like the deeper levels of my being, right? And so I went on a walkabout, a journey to try and discover myself, discover the other notes on my keyboard, right? In my melody that wanted to be played in this life. And I found my way to the Esalen Institute, and I discovered parts of myself, melodies inside, notes that I did not know were there, that wanted to sing out loud. And I'm ever and eternally grateful for the Esalen Institute. And then I integrated, then I found my melody, and I wanted to basically share that song with others, right? And I used to run a program in somatics at John F. Kennedy, and now I run the trauma certificate program at Somatopia. So that's a little bit of my life course. Let's see. I was named Albert after this guy, Albert Einstein, and I used to be a physics person, but us Alberts were both kind of scientific and soulful. So maybe I live up to my namesake. Um, my dad wanted me to be a physicist, and I'm a kind of a physicist of the heart in some ways. But Albert Einstein, and just see if you can hear the words, but also let them resonate. And that's another beautiful musical metaphor. Let it resonate inside you as if it could actually potentially, if the words could actually be true. So Albert Einstein writes, we are slowed down sound and light waves. We, these people, these embodied things that we are slowed down sound and light waves. A walking bundle of frequencies tuned into the cosmos. We are slowed down sound and light waves. A walking bundle of frequencies tuned into the cosmos. We are souls dressed up in sacred biochemical garments. We are souls dressed up in sacred biochemical garments. And our bodies are the instruments. Our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music. Our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music. So just feeling maybe the resonance of that, almost as if you could feel your own inner vibration, the instrument that is you and the music that wants to be played. Yeah. Okay. And here's another scientist. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot. And I've been kind of casually using some musical terms just as I've spoken. But I'm going to invite us to think about the question, and we'll open up chat in a bit. But what might the metaphor of music have to do with the healing process, right? Or even, and I've been throwing out some phrases borrowed from music that could relate to healing. But, as you think about those of you who maybe have a little sense of music and the healing process, what might some terms be that kind of cross over in terms of the world of music and the world of healing? So we'll go ahead and you can type that into the chat, and I'll just, the chat's now open. So yeah, or you can raise your hand, either is fine. Yeah. What terms from the world of music might also relate to the process of healing? Yeah, balance, right. Yeah, so let me just write some of this down. Balance, yeah, sometimes like there's a musical tone, it's like, that note is too loud, like there's too much kind of brass, or whatever it is. We need a little bit more kind of smoothing things out, right? We need balance, right? Synchronization. Yeah, something feels out of sync, like we're trying to play this tune together, but it's not in sync, or not in rhythm, right? Right. There's something like we're out of rhythm if we're kind of trying to do a duet, or I could be off my own internal rhythm, right? Like I feel like I'm off my rhythm. Like I don't know what happened. Maybe after a certain event, maybe even after a certain trauma, like it's been hard to find my rhythm again, right? I might have lost my very like inner harmony, right? Like there's a sense of disharmony, like within myself, if I've experienced some kind of thing that's been difficult, like it doesn't feel harmonious. And vibration, absolutely. You know, there's a, we talk about people having a certain vibe, right? Or a vibration. Sometimes like tuning into somebody else's vibe or vibration is really important part of connection. Synchronization, another vote for synchronization. Harmony and integration. Yeah, good. Integration, absolutely. There's an interesting thing about kind of musical pieces, like if you sing a tune and it doesn't complete, it doesn't resolve, or it doesn't integrate, there's like there's something called suspended chords, where it's just like, oh, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Meredith, happy birthday to, and it's like, what? It's just hanging there. It's not resolved. It's not integrated. It's not completed. Right. So there's like, so yeah, totally. Okay. Crescendo. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes like there's an amplification, a build, right? Within healing, like there's this saying, it gets worse before it gets better. It gets more intense sometimes. Right. So there's like amplification and crescendo. Thank you. Right. Okay. Absolutely. Harmony, again, progression, right? Yeah. So I kind of, that happy birthday thing was kind of like the progression that's supposed to lead eventually, typically, to kind of integration. And there's intervals, right? Harmony, sometimes there's very classic intervals that occur, like the minor fifth. What's that song from? What's his name? That guy with that really low voice. Minor chord, a lower fifth, or whatever. Hallelujah. Anyways, there's certain like intervals, like a fifth or a triad, um, that are very classic sounds in music, that are also very classic moves in healing work, right? So somebody's talking about a sensation. Okay, that's one note, but I could layer on a certain interval, like using this musical metaphor. You're feeling that sensation. Okay. Is there a thought that goes with that? That's a certain like, okay, you're making an interval move, right? It's like, that's like a triad. Okay. Sensation to thought. Okay. There's a thought. Okay. Is there an idea or a thought? Or is there an image? That's a different kind of interval. Like, does that sensation have an image that goes with it? So there's the thought interval. It's like a very classic. It's almost like, okay, that's like the fifth, or the going, okay, sensation to image is a third. I mean, those number, I don't know, like for those of you who are musical, like maybe that, but there's a certain kind of like classic sounds that make chords in a certain sense that go together, that also happen in a practitioner healer relationship, right? So you're looking at, so there's different kinds of intervals that are possible. We'll talk about those, okay, some of the options you have there. Okay. Decrescendo, when you're feeling a lower vibration. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's a progression, there's integration. Typically after the integration, there is a little bit decrescendo. Yeah, we're resolving. It's like, okay, coming back down, right? A lower vibration. Yeah, different inner systems being in tune together. Absolutely. So that's kind of like being in tune, right? And that's a good word, in tune together. In clinical work and therapy and in coaching and practitioner work, there's that actual word, attunement. Attunement, right? So it's like, I am becoming in tune with you, right? On the same song sheet. Absolutely, right? Kind of in tune, on the same page, connected to each other, listening inside, right? I like that. Yeah. Part of being in tune is like listening to your own kind of attunement, right? Kind of listening inside, listening to your own instrument. Resonance. Thank you. Yes, resonance. Okay. That probably goes along with, I don't know, this notion of vibration, like being in attunement and in resonance. Like there's this there's this thing that happens, and I'll just pause a little bit on this notion of resonance. Like if you take a tuning fork and you hit it, kind of it'll kind of start to vibrate. And if there's another tuning fork, this is just pure physics, that is attuned to the same frequency, even though you don't touch it, just if you hit one tuning fork, this other tuning fork will just naturally start resonating and vibrating, right? Okay. So if you, as a practitioner, support person, just human being who loves another person, is an open tuning fork to the other, when they send out their note, you will start to resonate, if your instrument is open, right? And that you'll be operating in attunement, right? You'll be in tune. You'll be at the same vibration, right? You'll be in resonance. And having somebody resonate with us can be one of the most deeply healing things, right? That there is. We'll talk more about that. Okay. Suspended chords, absolutely. Yeah, somebody knows a little bit of music. So a suspended chord is kind of like when I did that happy birthday to you thing and I didn't finish it, right? That's a suspended progression, but a suspended chord, some chords are like that, like a diminished fourth, or I don't know. I don't actually know music that, but yeah, there's certain chords that just want to move somewhere. It's like, oh, I don't want to stay on that kind of, it feels like it wants to resolve into something. And that's very much like something that's not completed, unprocessed trauma. Very good, Angela. Out of reach or isolated from the conductor. Yeah, totally. Bob Dylan. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Leonard Cohen, hallelujah. Absolutely. Okay. A secret chord that David used to please the Lord. I love that. I had no idea. Maybe all we need to do is to find that music and find that note. Just a quick aside. I think that musicians and singers, one of the reasons why they're revered so greatly is because many of them are actually healers. Like the music that they create is its own version of a healing thing. Okay. Zoe says flow. Yeah, flow, right? Is the music suck or does it progress or flow? Like, does it move and flow into integration, kind of going up and down, right? Yeah. So yeah. Your new young therapist doesn't know what attunement is. It's like co-regulation. It kind of is like co-regulation. Like attunement. It's like attunement is it, like my sense is like the we'll talk more about it, but it's like, do I feel like you are with me, right? In tune with my inner melody? Are you being with me?